and welcome to the Windmill Friends. My name is Windstorm64, and today I'm doing something new. So recently, I released a video showing a tool-assisted speedrun of a ROM hack of Super Mario 64 called Sonic Edition. The hack was created by the talented TAS and allows you to play through Super Mario 64 as Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, to be honest, I thought this would just be another generic model swap hack, where they simply replace Mario's model with a different one and call it a day. Thankfully, I was very wrong, which was a pleasant surprise. TAS, the developer, clearly went to great lengths to replicate the feel of a Sonic game within this SM64 engine. Not only that, this person added new animations, altered existing animations, added new sound effects, including like the classic jump sound, as well as a bunch of voice clips from Sonic Adventure 2, I think. Sonic even has most of his iconic moves set, including things like the spin dash, the homing attack, and even bouncing. Hell, if you want, you can even switch over to Sonic's damage style instead of Super Mario 64's. What that means is that instead of losing health when he takes damage, Sonic instead loses all of the coins he's collected, or dies if he doesn't have any, very much like how rings behave in Sonic games. Also, unbeknownst to me, until making this video, the hack has actually been updated. There's a new version, which I'll definitely be checking out. To top it all off though, another developer, GameBud, made a patch for the hack that replaces the standard Mario 64 textures with new ones that are more in line with the Sonic games. You should be seeing footage of that now, and as you can see, it's wonderful. All I can really say is, with all these features, this hack legitimately feels like it came from some parallel universe or alternate timeline where Sega and Nintendo started collaborating just a little bit sooner than they did in ours. One where they got together and decided to re-release Super Mario 64 with Sonic as a playable character. It legitimately feels official, so I can't say enough good things about it. I'd definitely check it out if you like Mario and Sonic, or if you just want to have a different experience while playing Super Mario 64. Apologies, I had no intention for the intro to be a review, but it's not hurting anything, so I'll leave it. So like I said, I just released a video showing a new TAS I recently completed for this hack, or at least an older version of it. I could just leave it at that like I did with the original TAS, but this time around I thought it'd be fun and interesting to sort of walk through it and explain exactly what's going on. Now, mark my words, I am not a computer science expert. I don't know much about coding or developing games. I'm not even really an expert of Super Mario 64. However, I at least know enough to explain some of the techniques used throughout the run. I will be avoiding overly technical explanations and trying to use simple layman's terms where possible, due to my own lack of knowledge and because I want this video to be easy to digest for people like me who maybe don't fully understand game development but are interested in the inner workings of games for other reasons, such as glitch hunting or speedrunning. With all that said, let's start dissecting this task, shall we? So, once the intro's finished, our first goal is to get into the castle. I start with 2 homing attacks. This gets Sonic up to speed much faster than just running or even the spin dash. After that, we simply run toward the left side of the bridge. Now, if you know anything about SM64 speedrunning, you've likely seen the Lackey 2 skip. Lackey 2, this little dude on the cloud, likes to stop the player on the bridge and give him instructions on how to use the camera. That's a waste of time, so we're gonna skip it. This tutorial is triggered by a hitbox which covers most of the bridge. This hitbox will only activate if Sonic touches the floor it's attached to, so you might think we can simply jump over it, which we kinda do. Unfortunately, it's too large to jump over even with Sonic's speed. Luckily, the hitbox is ever so slightly misaligned with the bridge. This results in an incredibly thin path on the very edge of the bridge that isn't covered by the hitbox, meaning that we can stand and even walk there without triggering Lackey 2's spiel. It is again very thin though, so you either have to line yourself up and run in a perfectly straight line across the bridge, or you can do this. Yep, if you hit A at exactly the right moment, you can jump the instant you touch this thin path. And from the shorter distance, you can easily clear the hitbox without triggering it. And with that, you've skipped Lackey 2. I changed the camera angle here just as soon as possible. This just makes things easier to line up. And the same is true for the second camera change here. Okay, this is the first trick in the run that's exclusive to the Sonic/Shadow editions. So, in a normal SM64 0 or 1 star speedrun, runners have to clip through the 8-star door. In the standard game, runners use BLJs to build up speed, and then maneuver their way to and through the door. In this hack, however, that's not an option, since the long jump is disabled. Fortunately, we have a solution. If we come to a stop and press Z to crouch, we can then hit the B button to begin charging up a spin dash. The more we press B, the faster we go when we release Z. This alone, however, will not get us through the door. Right after launching the spin dash, we can immediately press B again to initiate a slide. This allows us to pass through the door. Now, I don't know the exact numbers, and I'm not sure if this is exactly why he passes through so easily, but I do know that it doesn't take a ton of speed to bypass the collision for this door. So it's likely that Sonic's spin dash combined with the slide gives him just enough speed to slip through. After breaking through the door, we immediately jump to avoid bonking on the stairs, and from there we can go straight to Bowser in the Dark World. No stars required. Okay, so Bowser in the Dark World is pretty straightforward, though there are a few points I want to talk about. So after making a little progress, we come to this slope. This is where I should probably explain that Sonic behaves a bit differently on slopes than Mario. It's basically the same, but because Sonic is so fast, the slopes don't have much of an effect on him unless he's moving slow. Most of the time, Sonic can simply run up slopes without much of an issue. At the top of the slope, we change directions and do a side flip as soon as possible, and then bounce on the closest elevator platform. This gives us just enough height and acceleration to reach the next platform. Then we just kind of run for a little while. We do jump from this bridge to cut a corner, but mostly we just run. Eventually we encounter this unfortunate Goomba, whom we bounce off of to get some extra speed and distance from our jump. Using a couple bounces, we then make our way to the top and jump across, where we can run straight up the checkered slope and hop into the pipe. Now the first Bowser fight is pretty standard, so we're gonna speed through this. After the Bowser fight, we immediately jump back into the stage. This is so we can use the pause exit to take us to the lobby. I don't know if it would be faster, but it's definitely easier and more consistent than clipping back through the door. It's a potential improvement, I suppose, but once back in the lobby, we can take our key down to the basement door and enter it. In the basement, we immediately jump toward the 30-star door, changing the camera angle for alignment. After the text goes away, we push on the door for a frame or two and then punch it. This lines us up nicely to perform the spin dash slide trick, to once again clip right past the door. This is where I will mention that I've tried to bypass the Dire Docks entrance with this trick to no avail. That's not to say it's impossible though, I just couldn't figure it out. One way or the other, we move on to Dire Docks. And now I need to mention just how different Sonic feels underwater compared to Mario. Now, firstly, if you're moving fast enough and you're in the running animation, you can run on top of the water as long as you maintain speed. Unfortunately, that ability is not featured in this run, but if you do lose speed or stop running for whatever reason, you will then sink to the bottom, much like Metal Mario. The only real difference is that Sonic can jump indefinitely while underwater to surface. The main disadvantage, aside from not being able to swim, is that Sonic only has about 20 seconds, roughly, to live while he's submerged. So it's really easy to drown if you're not careful. To avoid drowning, we collect a few coins and jump out of the water at a few strategic moments to conserve just enough air to keep Sonic alive. Otherwise, this plays out much like a normal run of this stage. We get onto the sub and grab our first and only star of this run. Now we can enter Bowser in the Fire Sea, where there's really nothing to talk about. Sure, there's a lot of movement, but nothing unusual in this section that really warrants an explanation. It pretty much speaks for itself. But after that, we have the second Bowser fight. Again, due to the way Sonic behaves on slopes, he can just run around the platform as it sways back and forth. This makes grabbing Bowser's tail a breeze, and we can defeat him easily for our second key.
Out of here! Yes! Yeah!
After exiting the stage, we once again immediately return and pause exit to get back to the lobby. And from there, we head upstairs. We can skip some of this spiral staircase by simply jumping into this corner here. This works because there's a grabbable ledge just beyond this ceiling that we can latch onto, and by doing so, we can then clip through that ceiling. Next we come to the 50-star door, and here we use the spin dash slide trick to bypass it just like the previous doors. Once inside, we jump up the steps and enter the 70-star door. Now you probably already know that you don't actually need 70 stars to open it. You just need them to ascend the infinite stairs. So there's nothing stopping us from going into this door, so no need to clip through it. This next little bit is probably my favorite in the run. It looks a little strange, and it's a really small part, but it represents a sort of aha moment for me. When I came to the infinite stairs in the original TAS, I was not sure how to approach them. At first, I didn't think there was a way for Sonic to build up enough speed to bypass them, which is ironic now that I think about it. Fortunately, I stumbled upon the solution very quickly, basically by accident. I've known for a while that the stairs aren't actually infinite, and that there's some kind of trigger that keeps warping you back a few steps, thereby creating the illusion of never-ending stairs. What I didn't know until I looked into it for that original task was just how big that trigger was. Fortunately, it's not much bigger, if at all, than the collision hitboxes for the doors. That means that our spin dash slide trick, which we use to bypass all the doors, will work to bypass this trigger. This is just really cool to me because I found this trick by accident, and it's what inspired me to make this run in the first place. So for that trick to be the solution to the final hurdle felt very, very satisfying. Anyway, now we can head for Bowser in the Sky. There's only a few things to talk about here since we're getting so close to the end, but the first thing I want to mention is this little jump kick here. This was kind of an accident. My intention was to do another homing attack here. Sometimes though, inputting the controls for a homing attack will result in a little jump kick. I don't know exactly why this happens, but it maintains Sonic's momentum and looks really cool, so I just left it in. A little corner cutting here. I tried to bounce to the rotating platform directly, but I couldn't get that to work, so used this little wall kick instead. We bypass this slow-moving platform section using a series of carefully timed bounces and jumps until we reach the pole. Once we arrive at the set of elevators near the end of the stage, we can ascend them quickly with a series of very precise bounces. From the top of the elevator, we can cut yet another corner by jumping straight to the platform with the pillars on it. From here, we simply jump into the pipe, and we are at the final fight with Bowser. There's not much to talk about, but I should mention that it's possible to grab Bowser in midair with proper aim and timing. I also want to point out that I got kind of lucky with the third Bowser throw. I'm not sure he would have hit the bomb had he not bounced on this platform that was literally about to fall. The last thing I want to mention is that after the third Bowser throw, we move into position directly below the spot where the big star will be after it spawns. This is so that all we have to do is jump as soon as we regain control. And that's it. Game over. With that, I just want to thank everybody for watching this video, the previous video, the original TAS. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, try to take it easy, and I'll catch you later.